coming from a non-disclosed location near Nashville, Tennessee, we bring the Hump Day Hombres. With your host will be Wally Parks. You got hombres. I hope this finds all doing well. Today on our episode, we'll be bringing you an update on progress for our host. Thanks for asking. I also took down a straw poll vote last weekend to guess a new hair color. Blue won this vote, and Deborah picked out a hair color painted for that. So we'll show that a little bit. Also on this part of the episode, we have a visit out to meet someone of the early noticeable artists of country and gospel music from here in our fine city. So also want to introduce you to some close friends that I grew up with around here in Nashville. And let's see what else we have here. We have the Tennessee Red Bear, or Tennessee Red Berry Tail, as well as a weekend event, Charlieville event. So, without further ado, let's move on to our next episode, our first episode today. In episode 1, my goal was to share what I think is important about me. So I'm starting today to just give an update on the host of Hump Day Hombres, me. First, I need to say to those who watch, and many more I've reached beyond this show, I'm grateful each day for you all. You've been praying and thinking for my health and recovery. Thank you very much. So, as I mentioned last week's episode, I'm starting radiation and chemo. And the radiation is so far the easiest portion. And you can see a few pictures of a mass that holds my head in a fit position. And I'll show you a couple of pictures of that here. From there, I just take accurately bombarded particles of radiation to very accurate locations that are shot at portions they need to focus on the side of my brain. This is my routine 5 days a week for the next 5 more weeks. It doesn't take long. I'm at the Sarah Cannon Cancer Center, also known as the Minnie Pearl Cancer Foundation. After about 10 or 15 minutes, and then they release me from that. Chemotherapy consists of taking medication in specific times before I start radiation. There are a few other medications I have been on before starting the chemo, but they work more as an adjacent treatment and are critical of this menagerie of meds. So, how am I doing? Good question. A few subtle things so far, nothing that I feel is causing me anything I feel is worth mentioning here. Emotionally, I feel hopeful, grateful, loving. There are more times when I do have feelings of fear, despair, and yes, even hate, but they are short little walks that disappear quite easily thanks to all the support carrying me through. So that's the update on the episode. Now, as mentioned earlier, I also took down a straw poll vote last weekend to guess a new hair color. I got my new cut, but wanted to kind of dazzle it up a little bit for y'all. And so blue won this vote, and Deborah picked out a hair color, painted aqua blue. I'm aqua blue. So I decided to do this just to have fun, make the most of what we can. Got lots of positive vibes from people over this, and here's a few pics this week. You can see the shag rag. Saw my doctor yesterday. He said my scars are healing up really well over there, so that's going good too. Anyway, I love it. It's kind of fun. So, hope you enjoy it all. In this part of the episode 3, we have a visit out to meet some of the early noticeable artists of country and gospel music from here, Johnny and June Carter, and easily some of the most notable artists from Tennessee and throughout the old world. We still visit their resting site and home site. They lived around Old Hickory Lake in Hendersonville. So we'll be, in fact, shooting this a little bit later here. Wait for others to visit their resting sites in order. I was going to mention that. So while I was waiting to take these videos this morning, people pop in all the time. Johnny and his wife passed away back in 2003, so they still are widely requested and known by people around here, and so had to wait for them to get done, and then I could get in and do my little shot. So I'll share that clip now, and then mention some personal friends from this as well. Good morning there, folks. On this episode today, we're going to be visiting some people we know here in Nashville area. We're up in Hendersonville this afternoon, and want to introduce you to a family I know in person and have known, and then a family that I've never really met yet, but hope to meet them someday. We are here at the area where John Cash and his wife June Carter are buried. This is a little stool that they set outside the area there. I hope you can read it in this light. The light's really bright out here this afternoon. 2003, happiness is being at peace, being with loved ones, being comfortable. But most of all, it's having those loved ones. I tried to catch. And just before I got online here, I met with a fellow that knew the family back here. He's scrolling around here, but he now lives up in New York City. And he popped by to give his best bits to the family. So this is John R. Cash, February 26, 1932, passed on September 12, 2003. Psalm 19:14. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer. So that's his words to share. And over here we have wonderful June Carter Cash. June Carter Cash was born on June 23rd, 1929. May 15th, 2003 is when she passed away, just a few months before he did. And her word that she left was Psalm 103:1. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me, bless his holy name. So this is coming from both of them here. Let me flatten that out. Now here, I didn't know a lot of the Cash family, but in my 10 years I've been out here in Tennessee, I've met this family here. It's the lovely family here. That's Dr. Harry L. Yates. He was our pastor, and his wife Joanne Cash Yates, who still resides here in the area. And I've had the privilege of talking with her. We talk on the phone now and then, and she continues to pray for me daily, I believe. And but Harry passed away in September. It'll be 4 years in another couple of months. Great people that just loved people, loved music, loved just being kind to people. So we're blessed with that. So anyway, I wanted to bring this out to you all today so you can see that. I'm also going to go by and visit a little area where John and June really liked out here in Hendersonville. So we'll head over that way. At one point, this was the original gate here at Cash Home that sat out at the base of the river here, or Old Hickory Lake. As you can hear, there's some construction going on. Apparently somebody's bought the area and is doing some additions on here. I don't know who that is yet. A lot of limestone out here. There were 1,400 square feet. Gardens. One time a beautiful house that burned and caught fire and went down. Some of those walls over there on that wall might be from the original house. There's a lot of old photography out there. Some of the older buildings that were there, but it's a big, beautiful white house up there. Up this way, again, is a little beautiful little area that they had out here for garden area, or just, place to hang out. Don't like the lake down there. There, at one point, was a pool area, side area, building that. I've seen that before. Apparently they've taken that down, and maybe they're construction up there. Well, like most things, over time, they don't last forever. We don't need them forever. So I guess somebody else is going to take over this place. That's okay. We got a higher place to go to. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the view of the stay out here. Again, I know that old brick building right around in that area was where the old side building is. Maybe I can find a picture of it. Anyway, thanks for joining me, and I'll chat with you later. Although I never got to meet John and June in person, I did have the opportunity and pleasure to meet and become good friends and family with Pastor Harry Yates and Joanne Cash Yates. Also with the Yates family was Pastor Harry's sister Mary, who did a lot of teaching for young and old people. I'll show you some pictures of her. She still lives here in Old Hickory, just outside of Nashville. I met Harry and Joanne my first weekend here in Nashville when I moved here 10 years ago. I began visiting their local non-denominational church, Nashville Cowboy Church. They met Sundays at a local stage venue near the Grand Ole Opry. Here, they ministered to literally millions of folks who came to visit through Nashville, or as they traveled around to visit them through the years over the world. They would share with 2 to 3 artists at each one of their weekly church services down there that shared their gospel songs from their albums. And then Joanne shared a couple of her songs. Pastor Harry would bring a gospel and story that he always guaranteed to be 10 minutes long. Most of the time that was what he stuck to. I came much closer with this family and local church members that help a small white church out of Goodlettsville, Tennessee, where I live, called the Ranch House. Now, they held services there on Sundays and Wednesday evenings. I became a member of the church that led services, and 4 years was called to fill their music ministry position. Incidentally, where I came to fall in love with a young, beautiful lady who is now my fiance, I met her there as well. Pastor Harry passed almost 4 years ago, and the church stayed open about 1.5 years longer when it closed after 32 years. It was replaced and continues now by Music Valley Cowboy Church. They were former board members of the Nashville Cowboy Church. Those two are Jay and Sandy K. Shoup, who now pastor that church at the same location down near the Grand Ole Opry. So, and here's a little slide of photo videos from the family of lovely people that I got to meet in my episodes there. So we're bringing to you the Tennessee Red Berry Kells. Again, Bob Galbraith, I believe he wrote this back in, was copyrighted back in 1986. Just sharing tales about our area where I live around. Nice to have a cup of coffee right now. By the way, I still have a few of my little things from the Union Hill Productions, When the Beat is Pure Fire. My daughter helped me design that little graphic there that I use for the studio. So this is the silver rush. Silver, silver, everywhere, silver, a glory hole. Everyone in the Middle Tennessee area had stuck it rich. This was great news around northern Davidson County in the late 1800s. On the hillside, back of the late Dr. John Galbraith's house, a big gaping hole was dug. People from everywhere were taking out hugs, chunks of silver, free for the digging. Folks carried it off in sacks, buckets, baskets, and barrels, any container they would hold silver. It was the richest strike of the century. Then one of the men took a piece to the local merchant, who asked, "Gosh, that sure is pure stuff. Have you tried to write with it yet?" We all wondered if he had lost his marbles or just didn't know any better. He took out his pocket knife and shaved some of our pretty silver off in a neat pile. Yep, about the finest graphite I've ever seen. I got a little bee flying after me. You see that little bee? Hey, little bee. It is right shameful to see growing men cry, but they win a fortune in silver right down the end of a pencil point. Graphite. However, the project was not a total loss. Some of the men shored up the big hole with timbers, filled the timbered roof with dirt, put on a door, and made it into an ice house. In the winter, we cut the blocks out of the frozen creek and packed them with sawdust in the ice house to sell the next summer. That big silver hole is still there, and you can see it from the road today. I'm going to add one more little part to the story here on the same page. This is Pontius Jakes. Name sure can be misleading. Would you ever think that a full-blooded Cherokee Indian would have a name like Pontius Jakes? Well, 100 years ago, an Indian within a handle like that lived in Union Hill. According to legend, Pontius was hard to forget. He was a tall, stately person who was always dressed in the latest, most expensive fashions. But he never worked. He always had a pocket full of money and was free with it. So, all the locals were very curious as to where he got his cash. They took turns every day following him, trying to find the whereabouts of this bank deposit. Certainly wasn't at my house. They discovered each day Pontius would go out and take a long wall up and down the creel, at intervals picking up the something and putting it in his pocket. Of course, everyone wanted to know what he picked up, right? So, fellow Pontius would say, "I'm picking up gold. Where do you think I get my money?" They all wanted to see some of the gold, but he would not show them. He walked away, but he turned and said, "Just look. These creeks are full of gold. All of you can be rich if you'll just look." For years, the whole county searched the creeks around here for gold. None was ever found. Still, Pontius Jakes always had plenty of money and lived his high lifestyle with no effort. His favorite expression was, "They have eyes to see with, but they see not." That's the story of Pontius Jakes. So, anyway, I'll bring us to our final episode here. Sorry about that. So in this last episode, I wanted to bring you some local event or item going on around Nashville this week. And today I bring you information about good friends of mine, Dave Newey and his wife, Ginny Ann. They're both very active artists and musicians. Dave Newey recently retired as a local music teacher for the school district, and who started a foundation a few years back named after his daughter who passed, Charlotte Newey. He established a nonprofit, and they will be hosting 2 nights this year, Friday at Dee's in Madison. Incidentally, Dee's was nominated by Rolling Stones as one of the best unknown live places to hear music in Nashville. And then on Saturday will be a great event at Noe Hill, which will be right next to world-known Due West Recording Studios in Madison. Now, promises to be a weekend and can also help raise funds that are helpful to support musicians and writers. I'll be there Saturday with Deborah to do a couple of songs that evening. So, spread the love around. Bring us to the ending of today's episode. Again, thanks for the watching, and subscribe if you can, if you want to be aware of upcoming Hump Day Hombres. Hump Day Hombre. So, thanks. Have a good evening. We'll see you next week.